Imagine your AI voice agent could remember every single one of your customers' details before it even answered the phone. Today, I'm going to show you how you can do exactly that. Now, the reason this is important is because imagine you have an inbound voice agent answering calls, booking appointments, everything's going great. But what happens if one of those calls disconnects for whatever reason and then the customer calls back and the AI agent has no idea who this person is, treats them like a complete stranger, and then asks them to go through the full process again, asking all the same questions and getting the customer to essentially just repeat everything they just told them 5 minutes ago. Not only is it a bit weird, but it's not exactly the VIP experience that you want your customers to have with your inbound voice agent. If a human answered the phone, they would answer the call and say something like, "Oh, John, we must have got disconnected for whatever reason. Let's pick up where we left off." So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to connect your inbound voice agent to your Go High Level CRM so that it can pull customer data in real time and create more human-like, natural conversations. Essentially what we're going to do, we're going to give your voice agent the capability to remember every single customer detail and have that information before it even answers the phone. So if you're new here, my name is Matt. I'm the founder of FutureFlow AI, where we've helped service-based businesses generate over $250,000 by implementing AI voice agent systems. And I've also helped over 1,400 business owners and AI enthusiasts learn how to build these systems for themselves. So before we dive into the sauce on how to actually build this thing, I want to give you guys a high level overview of what we're actually going to be doing today. So when I present these different tutorials, I always like to put it into a use case, as I believe it helps with your understanding, and it also helps me teach it in a much more sequential way in terms of how you would actually go and build this yourself. In today's example, the use case is a company called Highland Properties, and they essentially help people sell their homes fast. And we're going to be calling as someone who is looking to sell their home fast. And the agent's goal is going to be to gather some basic information and then book them in for a free home consultation. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to essentially call the inbound agent number. Then it's going to go to Retell, and then Retell is going to connect us to the inbound agent, which is assigned to that number. And then the agent's going to go through the initial sort of information gathering process. Now, we're going to hang up midway through that conversation after the agent has gotten some details, but not all of the details that it needs. Retell is then going to send an end of call report to the Go High Level CRM to update the contact fields about the information that we gathered and also the information that we didn't gather. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call back a second time. And now when I call back the second time, what Retell is going to do is it's going to send a message to Go High Level through N8N to see if this phone number has a contact assigned to it. And if it does, we're going to return back specific pieces of information that we want to directly input into the prompt, and therefore giving the agent the memory and information about the customer. And it does this before the call even connects. So Retell sends the message to N8N, and then N8N sends the message to High Level. Then it returns that information back to Retell and then injects it into the voice agent prompt, so that the inbound agent, has all the information about the customer. And then the agent's going to pick up where it left off, complete the call, book the appointment. Then again, we're going to send the end of call report to Go High Level with all of the updated information, and then update that contact in Go High Level. The tools we're going to be using today, I'm going to be using Retell AI for my voice agent platform. I believe it's the most reliable voice agent building platform out there, and it has some pretty cool features that you can't find anywhere else. So I'll probably touch on them during the tutorial as well. I'm going to use Go High Level as a CRM because honestly, in my experience building these systems, Go High Level has been the easiest and most accessible CRM to implement voice agent systems into. Like, it has really clear contact section, it has really good APIs, It also has its own automation platform within the CRM, which really helps when we're doing the end of call reporting and when we're doing like outbound examples, but we're not going to be doing an outbound example today. And then finally, for the automation platform, I'm going to be using N8N. And the reason I really like N8N is because it's really flexible. And if you have the self-hosted version, it's very, very cheap as well. And just so that we're crystal clear on what we're covering today, we're going to start in Retell. I'm going to show you the voice agent prompt and how we're injecting the dynamic information about the customer into that prompt. I'm going to show you the post-call properties, so how we're extracting specific pieces of information from the call to then populate in the CRM. And then I'm going to show you how to actually send your Retell AI end of call reports directly to Go High Level. Then we'll quickly jump into Go High Level to show you how to actually receive those end of call reports, and then how to actually map the information from that end of call report to your contact. Then we're going to jump into N8N, and I'm going to show you how to connect your Retell agent to N8N so that you can retrieve information about the customer before the call even starts. And then we're going to do a quick live demo to show you what it all looks like in action. So without further ado, let's jump into Retell. So here we are in Retell. We have the agent, it is the Highland Properties inbound demo. And on the left hand side, we have our prompt. And then on the right hand side, we have our settings. Now, this video isn't about prompting techniques. This is about showing you how to inject information from your CRM into your inbound agent. So I'm not going to go through the full prompt and exactly why I did certain things in certain places. I'm going to show you how you can actually inject information from the Go High Level CRM into the prompt and kind of give you a bit of an idea of how you can then use that information to create the human-like natural conversation experiences that we spoke about at the start. So what I want you to focus on is this dynamic caller context section. Now, as you can see, we have like contact information, we have property details, we have selling context, and then we have how to use the context. So all we're doing here is we're telling the AI agent what information we are going to be populating, or what information that we have about this customer. So we have the name, and then you can see here that we have name in the curly brackets. Now, all the curly brackets mean is you're telling Retell where to inject the specific pieces of information about the customer. So imagine when the information gets injected into the prompt, these curly brackets all disappear and then a name appears. So it's just going to do that for every single one of these properties that we have information for. And if we don't have information for that property, then it won't have a value. And what that means is that the AI knows what information it does have and what information it still has to collect, so that when the customer comes back onto the call, whether it's after 2 minutes or a month, the AI knows what information it needs to collect and can also use the information that it already has to personalize the call. So I'm just going to quickly change that back. So you can see here we've detailed all the different information that we want or should have about this customer. And then we have this instruction on how to use the context. So if the information exists, acknowledge the previous conversation naturally. And basically what we're doing here is we're just confirming that the details that we have are correct. And what that's also doing is it's repopulating the post-call property for that specific piece of information for when we pass it back through to the CRM. So you're going to get all of the resources that are in this video. They're going to be linked in the Voice Agent Vault, which you can find in the link down below. The Voice Agent Vault is my free resource hub. It has all of my free templates, automations, prompts, tips, tricks, lessons, all my free value you can find in the Voice Agent Vault in the link down below. So if you're interested in more videos like this, more content, more value, then hit the link down below, join the Voice Agent Vault, and get access to all of my free resources. Coming back to the agent, we have the prompt and we have the dynamic information that we want to populate into the prompt so that the agent knows who it's speaking to and what information it still needs to collect. But on the right hand side, we have our post-call analysis, or what I like to call our post-call properties. Now, this is how we tell the agent to extract specific pieces of information. And that's really important when it comes to building these sort of dynamic agents, because when we pull information from the CRM into the prompt, we don't want to just pull everything in one big sort of input. We want to input them in specific areas so that we don't, overstimulate or overcomplicate the prompt. We can just give the agent the exact pieces of information that it needs to know, where it needs to know them. So when we're writing post-call properties, if you take one thing away from writing post-call properties, it is write your post-call properties like they are a prompt in themselves. Because essentially what happens at the end of the call is the transcript of the call is fed to each of these post-call properties, and then it extracts the information from the transcript based on the description that you've given it. So I like to write my post-call properties as if they are a prompt in itself. And then in the format examples, I like to give it examples of how I want it to format those outputs. So I give it an example of what the caller might say, and then what it should output that as. So you're going to get all of these resources in the Voice Agent Vault, like I said. So don't worry about, pausing and trying to make a note of all of this. I'm going to give you all of this in the Voice Agent Vault. You can get it down in the link below. So we create post-call properties for all the specific pieces of information that we want from the call. So address, selling time frame, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, property type, their name, phone, the condition of the property, improvements, reason for selling, and then call notes. So the call notes is just an extra property that I put in there for when people call back, so that the agent can have a summary of what the last call was about. So that's a really important point as well. Now, when it comes to end of call reports, so when the call finishes, Retell produces what we call end of call reports, which has all of the information about what happened on that call. So it has the transcript, the summary, it has the outputs for all of these post-call properties, and we want to send that directly into our CRM, Go High Level, so that we can either create or update existing contacts. And the way that we do that is actually really, really simple. In our webhook settings here, under agency level webhook URL, we just take an inbound webhook URL from Go High Level and paste it right in here. And I'm going to show you in Go High Level how to do that right now. So now we're in my Go High Level end of call report automation, and you can see that the top trigger is an inbound webhook. So if you click in, it's really easy. You just add a new trigger, type in inbound webhook like that. Like, it's not letting me add two, but you just click that, create a new webhook, and then it will automatically give you a URL underneath here. And all you need to do is copy the URL here, go to your Retell agent, go into your agency level webhook URL, and paste that in there like that. Now, once you have done that, if you've started a completely new automation, your mapping references are going to be blank, and you can't actually save this inbound webhook trigger until you have some sort of mapping reference. So all you need to do is you need to call your inbound voice agent. You don't even need to speak to it, just let it answer the call. You hang up, and then Retell will send through some end of call reports, which we can then map in the automation. So I'm going to quickly call the agent right now and show you what that looks like.
Hi, this is Brad from Highland.
So just called, it answered, I hung up, and now if I go to the mapping reference, we can see that we have very recent mapping references. So look at my time here, it's 14:10, 14:10. Now you can see that there is 3 end of call reports, and that's because Retell actually sends through 3 different end of call reports. You have call started, you have call ended, and then you have call analyzed. And call analyzed is the report that we want. And call analyzed is always the last report that comes through. So if you just select the most recent one, which is going to be this top one, if you scroll up to the top and just double check that it is the call analyzed report, so you can see the event is call analyzed, and then you just hit save trigger. Now, how do we actually map the information from the end of call report to a contact, either creating a new contact or updating an existing contact? Well, I'm going to show you how just now. So in this module, we're just essentially filtering out the other end of call reports by filtering through only the call analyzed report. So the event is call analyzed, go down this branch. Then we have our update contact module. So what this module is actually doing is you can actually create new contacts and update existing ones with this one module. So it actually does help us quite a lot. And in terms of what you actually need in this module, first thing that you'll need is the phone, because you can't create or search for contacts if you don't have a phone or email address. And since these are inbound phone calls and sometimes we don't, get the user's email address, we can actually use the phone number that they called from to create a contact. So the way that we do that is for the fields, I'll actually just do it live. So we want to add a field. It needs to be a standard phone field, which is like the default fields in Go High Level. We want to select phone. We hit this little tag here. We go to inbound webhook, call, scroll down, and then from. And the reason it's the from number is because this is an inbound agent. So the user is calling us. So it's the number that the call is coming from. So this is the customer's number. We're then using that to create or update existing contacts. And then for the rest of the fields, these are all fields that we created in Retell. And all that we did to make this happen was in Go High Level in the custom fields section, we created custom fields which exactly matched our post-call properties that we created in Retell. So I'm not going to go into how to do that side of Go High Level because it honestly is really, really simple. You just go to settings, custom fields, and then add a new field and then start creating your fields that way. So once you've created all of your custom fields in Go High Level, you can then start mapping them to the post-call properties which you've created in Retell. So we'll just do the property address as one example. So if I just delete that, at the bottom, I'm going to add field. And I've started all of these fields with Highland property to make it easier for me to find. So if I scroll down, we've got Highland property address. We then go to the tag, inbound webhook trigger, call. We want to find call analysis. We then want to find custom analysis data, and then we want to find property address. And then that's us mapped the post-call property to the Go High Level custom field. And then you just do that exact same process for all the custom fields and post-call properties that you have. So these next two modules you don't really have to include, but I like to include them because it just creates a better user experience, either if you're managing the calls yourself or if it's for a client. And basically what this log call recording module is doing is it's just logging the call recording in Go High Level. So instead of having the call recordings in like a Google Sheet or some sort of Excel, you can actually just directly import them into the contact field, and it will show up in the Go High Level contact sort of user interface. So all you need to do is map the direction, which you can get from the inbound webhook trigger. So you just go tag, inbound webhook, call, scroll down to the bottom, direction. So that's telling it whether it is inbound or outbound. The date we don't have to map because Go High Level automatically maps that for us. The to number is the same way that we got the from number before. So we're just getting it from the inbound webhook trigger, call, and then from and to is right there. And then for the attachment, you're going to attach the recording URL which Retell gives us. So same again, really simple, inbound webhook, call, scroll down, recording URL, and then we hit save. So now what you've been shown is how we can set up our inbound voice agent to be able to receive dynamic information from Go High Level. I've now also shown you how you can send end of call reports into Go High Level to create or update existing contacts. And now what I'm going to show you is the N8N automation, which allows Retell to communicate with Go High Level to actually pull those dynamic variables directly into the prompt. So here we are in N8N and we have our inbound call CRM search automation. So we have our 4 modules here, we have our switchboard, and then we have our webhook. Now the webhook is really important because this is what allows us to send a message from Retell to N8N to actually perform the search within Go High Level. And it's honestly really simple to set up. All you need to do is you need to go into your webhook, select production URL, copy this URL, then you come into your Retell account under phone numbers, you find the phone number that you want to assign to your inbound agent, you assign it to your inbound agent here, and then underneath here you have this add inbound webhook option. So for you it's going to look blank like that. All you do is tick the box in the URL section, you paste in the production URL that you copied from N8N, and that's it. So now whenever you call this number to speak to this inbound agent, Retell is going to send a message to the N8N webhook to then initiate the process of searching the CRM for that contact and then returning the information. So coming back to the automation, obviously Retell, call comes in, Retell sends a message to this webhook. And the reason we have this switchboard here is just because this agent that I've set up is also going to be doing some appointment setting as well. So we have some appointment setting automations down here, and I just use the same webhook for the inbound webhook and the appointment scheduling, but we don't need to worry about that just now. Basically all I'm doing in the switchboard is saying if the event name is call inbound, then funnel the information into this automation, which is then going to allow us to search the Go High Level. Now, we're just going to start off with these top 4 so that I'm not revealing any of my API keys and I can slowly kind of talk you through the process without revealing anything. So if we come into our set fields module, all we're doing here is setting the fields for important information that we need later on in the automation. And the reason that I do this is 1, to be organized, and 2, if I want to then use this same automation for, say, a different client, then I can just copy and paste this across. All I need to do is fill these out and then it will automatically apply those to the rest of the automation. So you can see here we need our Retell agent ID, which is at the top of the Retell platform. I'll actually quickly just jump into Retell and show you that part. This top section here where it says agent ID, you just want to copy this value here and input it in here. For the location ID, this is the location ID of your Go High Level sub-account where you're searching for the contact. And then your Go High Level private integration token is essentially your Go High Level API key. Now to create your Go High Level API key, it is quite simple. I'll quickly just show you that right now. So you come into your sub-account, you go into settings, you come down to private integrations, you hit create new integration, give it a name. Let's say N8N, just go N8N, and then you select the scopes. For me, I prefer to just select all of the scopes so that I can use one sort of master API key for the sub account. But obviously it's up to yourself if you only want to, create access to specific parts of your sub account. But to be honest, I just select all the scopes and then use the same API key for all of my automations associated with that specific sub account. But once you've selected all the scopes that you want, it will then pop out with your private integration token, and it will only show you this once. So copy it, keep it in a safe place, and then move on to the next part. So now that you know where to get your agent ID, location ID, and private integration token, let's move into the contact search request. So what this HTTP request is doing, it's essentially just sending a message to Go High Level to search for a contact based on a specific criteria. So we can see here that your API key or your private integration token is automatically being populated. Your location ID is automatically being populated. And then the field that we are going to search by is the phone number. And then we just use the from number from the customer to search for their contact. So we're searching the sub account for that contact using their phone number as the unique identifier essentially. So then once this module runs, if there is a contact, it will return back with all the contact information that we have. If there isn't a contact, then it obviously won't return back anything. Now, you're probably looking at this custom code module and thinking like, I don't know how to code, like that's scary. Honestly, it's not, and I'll tell you why we need to have this module here. Because when we do this contact search request, if one of our custom fields doesn't have a value yet, then the contact search module won't actually populate that custom field in its output. Now you're probably thinking, well, duh, like if there's no value there, then why would it have some sort of output? But the reason that that is a problem is because when we actually go to map the information to the dynamic variables, if we don't have an output to actually match to the dynamic variable, then our dynamic variables that are being populated into the prompt become inconsistent. And what happens is, for your property address custom field, you might have, 3 in terms of the number of bedrooms. Like, these all begin to get mixed up. So I'm going to show you why that is important, or what that sort of looks like by running a live contact search request for you. So this is connected to my Go High Level, and I've already set up a contact for myself. And you can see here that I don't have inputs for most of the custom fields that we want to populate, okay? But I do have some inputs for some of them. So I've got a property address and a call notes. So I'm going to hit save there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this module. Now you'll see that Go High Level will actually only output custom fields which we have values for. So I've ran the contact search. You can see that it found a contact. So it's, populated information. We can see here we have like my name here, my email, stuff like that. But then up here, you can see we have custom fields, and it hasn't output any of the custom fields which don't have a value. Now, the reason that that is a problem is because if we were then to, let's say we just disconnect that, we connect those. If we were then to try and map those fields to the different dynamic variables, when we do that, let's say the value is the address here, it's going to populate as custom fields 0, and then this is going to be custom fields 1, custom fields 2, custom fields 3. But if we had another contact which maybe had, the selling time frame, so let's say 3 months. Let's say we had the property type as, a flat. If we now do that, okay, and we run the same automation, you're going to see that these custom fields are going to be in a different order. So let me just quickly run the automation and show you. So now you can see that we have more custom fields because we input more values. So we've got the type of property, we've got the selling time frame, we've got a couple of different custom fields. And now when we go to map those in our respond to webhook, you can see that custom field, so it's actually kept 0 as main street, but you can see that custom field value 1 is now the call notes, and the selling time frame is going to be custom field 4. But if we then input more information into the contact, then these custom fields are going to be all muddled up, and it just creates inconsistent mapping of the variables. Luckily for you, I've put together this custom code module which essentially sorts the custom fields by their ID. Now, in order to do this, there's 2 stages. First, you need to get all of your custom field IDs, so all of the IDs that are associated with the custom fields that you've created for that agent, and you can do that by doing a custom field get request in Go High Level. So I'm just going to run that and show you what that looks like. So you can see here in our output, we have a list of every single custom field that I have in that sub account. So it has their ID, it has their name. So if you come down here for Highland Properties, it has the ID, it has the name, and then a couple other details that we don't really need. But all we need is the name and the ID. So then what you do is, in your custom code module, you can actually do this in Claude, and do you know what? I'll give you a prompt that you can just give to Claude or ChatGPT, which will write this module for you. But essentially all you do is, in the custom code module, is you give it all of the custom field IDs that you want or need to populate. It will read the contact search output. It will find which of the custom fields that you have and populate that information. And then any of the custom fields that you don't have, it will still populate an output for you so that you can map it to the right sort of dynamic variable in your respond to webhook node. So if I just execute the workflow here, like that, if I jump into my custom fields module, you can see here that I'm saying, if there isn't any information, return back as not provided. But if there is, then return back what the field says. So now you can see here that we have a consistent formatting. So we've got the name, we've got the number, we've got the email. We don't have the address, so it provides not provided. We don't have the postcode, so it outputs not provided. We have the address, we have the time frame. We have all the information that we need. So now what we can do in the respond to webhook is we can now map all of those fields consistently and accurately. So even if we don't have one of the values, we can still map that and basically send that information to our Retell inbound agent so that it knows that it doesn't have that piece of information. So now that we're able to accurately map all of the fields that we need to, we then basically have to look at the white writing on the left. And basically this white writing has to match exactly what is inside your curly brackets inside of your Retell agent prompt. So if we look at our Retell agent prompt here, we have the name, we have it all lowercase, no spaces, we have the phone, all lowercase, no spaces, property address, lowercase, underscore, lowercase, and then in our NAN respond to webhook, you can see that the syntax is absolutely the same. And this is really, really important because if it's different, it won't be able to map that dynamic variable to its associated dynamic variable in the prompt, and then the agent is going to sound like an idiot. So make sure that your syntax here matches the exact syntax that you're using here, okay? So now what we have is we've essentially set up an NAN automation where Retell can send the message to this webhook. The webhook then passes the information to our automation. We then search Go High Level to see if we have a contact with that phone number. If we do, then we can return all the information that we have about that customer and then respond back to Retell with the information that we have and the information that we don't have. So now that you've seen everything in action, let's do a quick live example and I'll show you how this all works. So I thought I'd just pull up the first visual to show you guys exactly what's happening here. So we're gonna give Highland Properties a call, ask them to help us sell our house, and then we're gonna hang up halfway through the call once it's already asked some information, and then we're gonna call back and basically be like, oh, the call got disconnected, and see how the agent, deals with that.
Hi, this is Brad from Highland Properties. How can I help?
Hey Brad, I was wondering if you could help me sell my house.
Absolutely, Rod. I'd be happy to help you with that. Can I start by getting the full address of the property you're looking to sell, including the postcode?
Yeah, it's 123 Main Street and the postcode is G10 1FS.
Thank you, Rod. And just to confirm, is this a detached, semi-detached, terraced house or flat?
This is a detached house.
Great, thanks for confirming that. How many bedrooms and bathrooms does your detached house have?
We've got 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms.
Perfect, thank you. How would you describe the overall condition of your property? Would you say it's...
So, I've just hung up halfway through, the call's got disconnected, what's happening, da 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 da. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call back and I'm going to say, sorry, the call got disconnected for whatever reason, and see how the agent reacts.
Hi, this is Brad from Highland Properties. How can I help?
Hey Brad, we just spoke, but I think the call got cut off for some reason.
Oh, absolutely, Rod. I'm so sorry about that. The line must have dropped. Let me just quickly go over the details. I have to make sure everything is still correct. So, I had you down as Rod, and the property we were discussing was the detached house at 123 Main Street, G101FS. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom property, but I didn't catch the overall condition or if you've done any recent improvements. You hadn't mentioned your ideal selling timeline or the reason for selling yet. Does all that sound right so far? And could you tell me a bit about the condition of your home?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's in pretty good. It's in pretty good condition. We just recently had an extension done at the back, like extended the kitchen, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Thanks for letting me know, Rod. That extension in the good condition will definitely help with your valuation.
I don't know how he's got the name Rod, but we'll run with it.
Are you still exploring your options? And is there any particular reason for the move, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, we're just looking to downsize because we had our kids move out.
That makes perfect sense, Rod. Downsizing after the kids move out is really common. Is there a specific time frame you have in mind for selling?
In the
or
next
are you starting to?
In the next 6 months.
Perfect. Thanks for clarifying. So you're aiming to sell within the next 6 months. Based on everything you've shared, the best next step would be to arrange a completely free home evaluation with one of our property experts. They'll come out, assess your home, including that new extension, and provide a detailed market analysis. There's absolutely no obligation, and we only get paid when your house successfully sells, no upfront costs at all. Would you be interested in booking that free evaluation?
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant. What day would work best for you to have our property expert come out for the evaluation? We can work around your schedule.
I'm free on Friday.
We have an available slot this Friday at 10 a.m. Would you like to book your free home evaluation for that time?
Yes, please.
It looks like that 10 a.m. slot on Friday has just been taken. Would you like me to check for another time on Friday, or is there another day that works for you?
What other times on Friday do you have?
At the moment, the only available slot showing for Friday is 10 a.m, which has just been booked. Would you like to try a different day, or should I keep checking for cancellations on Friday?
What about Thursday? Have you got any time on Thursday?
We have several slots available on Thursday, including 9 a.m, 11 a.m, and plenty of times throughout the afternoon up to 5 p.m. Is there a particular time on Thursday that works best for you?
Yeah, let's just do 9 a.m.
Looks like the 9 a.m. slot on Thursday has just been taken as well.
Okay, so I've fucked up some sort of the appointment scheduling process there. Let's come in and see. 44. I might have not mapped this all up correctly. So it's getting the availability fine, but it's not scheduling the appointment. But that's not the point of this video. So I'll go back and show you what happened with the inbound webhook. So here is the inbound webhook trigger, which triggered for the second call. And if we come into our contact search output, we can see that we had some of the custom fields filled out. So we had the address with the postcode, we had the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, the type of property, and then we had the call notes, so like what actually happened on the call. So then that information was then fed through to the custom fields by ID. It then populated the information that we had to the right dynamic variable, and then populated a not provided for any of the information that we didn't have yet. And then we fed that back to the voice agent prompt so that the agent, knew what information it had and what information it didn't. So if you've made it this far, I just want to say a massive thank you for trusting me with your precious time. In today's video, I showed you how to set up an inbound webhook trigger to connect your inbound voice agent in Retell to your Go High Level CRM to give your inbound agent the ability to remember every single customer detail and create more natural, human-like conversations. If you got some value from this video, then please don't be shy to leave a like, leave a comment. And if you want to watch more videos just like this one, then hit the subscribe button as well, as I will be bringing you a lot more content just like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.